Let's meet the creators and cast of The Maze Runner right now, starting with that director I was just talking about, Mr. Wes Ball, I'm sorry. The author of the book, The Maze Runner, Mr. James Dashner. He plays Gally in the film, Mr. Will Poulter. Teresa is played by Kaya Scodelario. And lastly, as Thomas, Mr. Dylan O'Brien.
Wes Ball, by the way.
Yes, Wes Ball, my bad.
That's okay.
What is happening?
That's embarrassing.
Dylan, let me ask you, as Thomas, the character you play,
Yeah.
an actor tends to want to use his environment, his memories, the memories he creates for a character. You have none of those advantages in this character. How did you approach it?
I mean, just by doing it, I guess. But yeah, you're right. There's not much to go off of. But that's almost cool. It's almost easy. It's very natural for what the character's going through. You know, taking it in just one step at a time, having no recollection of anything, any previous life. Yeah, I don't know. It's easy in a way. It's sort of, you know, it's sort of a theme throughout the movie, the mystery. And so playing that, I guess, is important and easier when you have nothing to go off of, you know.
And Wes, we did mention your short film Ruin, which is terrific. Can you see it on YouTube? Can you go on YouTube and see it these days?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
You should check it out. It's pretty amazing. That led to you getting this job, and there's a little bit of a leap from doing a short film to a film of this magnitude and this scale. What was the process like that got you this particular project?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I got a little bit of attention off of that little short. I think probably because of the overgrown concrete aspect of it all. So while I was at the studio talking about that project, they gave me this book to read and asked me what I would do with it. So I went home and read it, and I immediately kind of fell in love with, I fell in love with the core concept and the characters themselves, and the idea of a group of boys trapped in this world for what we'll find out is a period of years, having to create their own little world, you know, and come up with their own little society in this place without any kind of outside intervention. It was a really cool idea for that kind of survivalistic aspect of it, like Lord of the Flies and those kinds of things. I love that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, just the kind of menacing aspect of the maze outside that's surrounding this place, it lent itself to some really fun situations, lots of tension, lots of suspense. And it was just a chance to kind of do something really cool and big on adventure and try to do something a little differently than what most things have done coming before us, where we could do something that has a little bit more balls to it, you know? So it was a lot of fun, and I guess the studio liked what I had to say, and here we are.
Now, you guys had a screening of the film last night, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And apparently the reaction was phenomenal. Did you see it? Some of you folks see the screening last night?
Yeah.
James, what's it like as an author to see these characters, these situations, this story that sprung from your mind up on the screen like that?
It's indescribable, man. I get really emotional when I saw the final version of the film recently. I mean, I was shaking, I was bawling, it was just something I could probably never experience again, but they really captured my vision, and Wes and this amazing, beautiful cast, especially Will Poulter. Look how beautiful he is. Dylan, you know, he's fine. Anyway, they created this, they took the vision of my book and turned it into this magnificent film, and I seriously I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Well, let's take a look at some more of the vision and the actors. I think this is the first look for the trailer, right?
Yeah, this is our second trailer, basically.
The new trailer.
New trailer, first time anyone is seeing it. You guys here in Hall H, we're going to show you the brand new trailer for The Maze Runner. I'd like to start off by asking Will, Gally in the film, he has sort of cross purposes with Thomas's Dylan character in terms of how they approach their situation and their destiny. Can you talk a little bit about your character?
Sure, man. I'm still freaking out a little bit after that. That was really awesome. Like, we haven't seen it like properly either, so that was cool for us. Yeah, so Galley was a really interesting challenge to me, and I'd like to again pass on my thanks to Wes, who trusted me with the role. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I guess he's the closest thing to the villain in the story, but really what I think we tried to do collaboratively is create a character who was more conflicted than just kind of one-way inclined and villainous. I think a lot of what was in James's book and a lot of what ended up being on the page was kind of rational and empathetic from Galley. I think you could see his side of the story, even if you didn't necessarily agree with it. You kind of saw where he was coming from, which was important for me, you know. And I actually respected the kid. I kind of I could appreciate his point of view. But I suppose the main thing about Galley, which we kind of drew out, is that he's a bit of a coward, and he is totally willing to be confined to the glade, which is that kind of manufactured environment that you see encased in the four walls. He's made that his home, and he's fearful of what is kind of on the outside world. And there's allusions to maybe, you know, the fact that he has some memory of what might be out there. Whereas Dylan has this, I think, or sorry, I should say Thomas, has this, we love each other in real life, can I just say? We're like full on, you know, it's fully bromantic. But Thomas kind of seems to have this guttural, sort of instinctive urge to escape. And so we're at polar opposites of the spectrum. And, you know, that's why on a couple of occasions it almost comes to blows between the two of us. We kind of hate each other in the film, which I guess you'll see.
And Kaya, let's talk a little bit about being the only female amongst, not only in the role of Teresa amongst all these guys at the Glade, but also as yourself as an actress as well. What was your experience like?
It was wonderful. I mean, I've grown up around a load of guys, and loads of my friends are boys, and I really like the fun you can have around boys, because they kind of talk crap a lot, and it's fun. And we had a wonderful time. We all kind of bonded straight away, and it's I feel so comfortable with them. It's very kind of brotherly, because they look after me, but they also bully me, and it's nice. I feel like I'm on the same level as them. And it helped me understand her so much more, and her need to be as strong as possible and just survive straight away, to be able to prove herself, which I think she does.
Right, and I think that's basically because, like, in the story, there really isn't much of a love story between the two. It's more of a mysterious connection that plays itself out over the narrative, and something hopefully we'll be able to explore further. But it helped that you basically, Kaya, became kind of one of the boys and could throw down with the best of them. So.
All right, let's go out to the audience for a couple questions. Hi there, what's your question?
Hi, I'm Kayla, and I was just wondering, like, in particular, if you had any scene that you found like the most fun to shoot or anything like that. If you could.
Let's ask all the actors that. What was the most fun and the most grueling experiences for you making the film?
Every scene was most grueling.
The whole movie. Did you see that trailer?
Yeah. I sacrificed limbs on this movie. The most fun was, I don't know, I really, really liked our wrestling scene.
That was fun.
That was just one that was awesome, that we rehearsed from, you know, a week before we started production, and we didn't shoot it till about 3 weeks in, and it's just such a scene that kind of reminds me of, you know, movies that I loved as a kid growing up. And it's, you know, I loved that it's sort of, for Thomas, the first kind of glimpse you get into seeing how strong he is, you know. He takes on Galley in the ring, and it's really cool, it's really fun, it's a great scene.
Yeah, I would echo what Dill said and say that was kind of one of my favorite scenes as well. And then also, like, weirdly, the scenes where, you know, we really get into it as characters and we're like facing off with each other. And this isn't something you'd maybe expect on a platform as big as, you know, a Fox film like this and a film that, you know, is based on such a popular novel. But, you know, we also got a lot of opportunity to really act in this movie. You know, we were allowed to improvise. We were really allowed to bring our own thoughts and ideas to the table. You know, and sorry, Kayla, this is your question. I should be directing this to you. And you know, and Wes is all about collaboration. I should also say we weren't laughing at you, by the way. There was someone being an idiot behind you, so that's why that's why we were laughing. It wasn't you. Oh, and I think I just got flicked off. Thank you, sir. That's awesome. That's great.
Welcome to Hall H, Will.
Yeah. We'll see you outside. We'll wrestle.
Yes, Will.
Yeah. Kai, what about you?
For me, what I enjoyed the most, me and Dylan spent a day on top of a tree together. And it was just so random, and it kind of is the beauty of this job. It's this gorgeous tree house thing that was built specifically for the film and was really big and was a real tree and swung in the wind. And it was the first day where we'd become friends, but I think it's where we kind of really spent time together as actors and kind of juggled with each other. And for me, it was just a beautiful day of work because I got to just be one-on-one with him and see the magic that he makes. And it was really pretty up there as well.
Nice.
My favorite scene was the one scene that I was in.
There is a cameo.
You guys got to look for me in the movie, all right?
All right, we will. Hi there, what's your question?
Hi, I actually have a question for Kaya. I'm a big fan of yours from seeing Skins.
Yay, thank you.
Effie.
Not the American one, right? The English one.
So I was wondering how your character development was different when filming this than from playing Effie.
I had a lot of time with Effie. I was 14 when I started playing her, so I lived out my teenage issues through her, and I was going through all those things at the same time. And she was a very deep character. She's a very important character to me. But with this, it was fun because I could just be completely angry and, hungry. And I loved that about this character. She arrives and she's not trying to make friends with anyone. She's not kind of playing mediator between people. She just wants to survive and she wants to know who she is and where she is. And there's something I really admire about her that I haven't really had before with a character. She kind of, she made me feel a bit braver. And that, the whole thing, I think as a young woman, sometimes you feel like you have to fit a certain box and you have to be a certain person. And both Effie and Teresa were always their own people. And I really respect that. And I kind of wish I could be a little bit more like that sometimes. But they both really inspire me. I'm glad I got to play both of them.
Great, thanks. Hi there, what's your question?
Hi, I'm Angelica. My question was there anything in the book that didn't quite make it to the movie that you wish would have?
Well, that's probably my question.
This is where these two have a full-on fight.
They're going to wrestle next.
There's the obvious challenges of turning a book into a movie, but I think basically all the favorite scenes that the fans have of the book will be in the movie. We definitely changed stuff that I felt like wouldn't be very visual or things that just that wouldn't play cinematically like they do in a novel. But it was all about sort of, condensing down the story and making sure that the escalation of tension and sort of suspense and all that great stuff and momentum was the important thing of the movie. So anything that kind of fell away was usually in that sense, but I'm not going to give away the spoilers of what they are. Sorry.
If anybody would be the harshest critic, you'd think it would be me because I wrote the book. And I can honestly tell you that every change that had to be made perfect sense and helped the spirit of the book translate even better than the literal translation would have to the big screen. You guys, you're going to love it. That is not a worry.
Hi there, what's your question?
Hi. With all of the YA dystopian movies and books out there, Maze Runner is one of the few that actually has a male character that's really strong and really developed. How do you think Thomas will hold up in more of a general crowd at the movies? Because they see people like Tris Pryor, Katniss Everdeen, or, which one will win a fight, whichever you want to answer. It's fine.
You are Thomas, so you answer.
Yeah. I don't know if Thomas would, beat Katniss in a fight or anything. I think she'd take him out with an arrow before he could even get to her. He'd run away. He could dodge it. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny hearing that, I forget that, a lot of these YA movies that are out right now are strong female roles. I think that's great. I think usually what I'm used to is seeing a lot of strong male roles. It's great that I get to play one. I'm really in love with this character. I love kind of how he gets a fresh start and a new chance at discovering things inside him that he never knew, in his life before. And I think in this specific case, it's courage and strength and a sense of leadership, and it's great to kind of follow his journey, starting as the greenie, the newbie, and kind of following his just sort of utter defiance throughout the film, and not willing to just go along with everything, and not willing to just let his fear, kind of hold him back. He sort of genuinely rather die than spend the rest of his life in that glade. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a blessing to play. It's really cool, and I'm sort of a really big fan of that kind of ordinary kids in extraordinary circumstances. Those are sort of my favorite movies growing up. So it's great to get to play, and portray.
Yeah.
Besides the maze, which is the most obvious hurdle in front of these characters and what they're dealing with, the thing that terrifies me are the Grievers. Can we talk about those just a little bit? Wes, how did you bring those to the screen in order to convey the terror that they certainly do in James' book?
Yeah, the Grievers are obviously, very key parts of the book. These kind of guard dogs that are out in the maze and sort of terrorize these kids as they try to just escape this place. They are basically their greatest fear. They're very cool. They're for me, I was looking at things like Jurassic Park and Alien and those kinds of movies, and the opportunities that I had to kind of play up the kind of monster movie aspects of this thing. And so designing it was actually a lot of fun. It was me and another designer named Ken Barthelemy. We communicated basically over email and designed this thing together, and I handed it off to Method, and they kind of brought it to life. But it was really just taking sort of the basic ideas that James put in the book, and that the general idea of being sort of a Frankenstein sort of biomechanical creation is what was an intriguing idea. And I think you'll notice that, and I'm trying very hard to, in the marketing, not give away these things too much, because I believe in the idea of surprise in the theater. So you'll probably, the mass audience out there probably won't ever get a truly good look at these things, but I guess we are here with just a bunch of friends. So, so what we've done for you guys, if you can, not spoil too much to everyone outside of here, is we've cut together one particular scene where Thomas kind of has a little encounter with one of these guys, and you'll get a little taste of what the rest of the movie has in store.
Hi, I'm Taryn. I was just wondering, in the book, you see that the characters got their names from significant people in history, and you mentioned that Minho was a name that you kind of created, but I was wondering about Fry Pan, because who would really name their child that?
That is a very specific question. Very good. In the very first draft of the Maze Runner, we found out that Fry Pan's real name was Siggy, which is probably why he goes by Fry Pan. So you can do a little brainstorming and research and see who he might have been named after with the name Siggy. I'll leave it at that. Oh, you just gave it away.
It's short for Sigmund, by any chance?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I win. I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, I'm Nika. And I'm Hannah. And our question's for Dylan.
We just wanted to say that we loved you, and our question is, what was the most difficult scene you filmed?
Thank you guys, first of all. So sweet, and I love the dual question. Chuck's death. Spoiler. Sorry, man. I'm under a lot of pressure up here. I don't know.
We're going to forget he said that.
Just pretend you didn't hear that.
Someone's death in the film. Oh, God. I'm going to get yelled at.
Sorry,
so
we're
hard
not
for
all
me,
book
man. I'm not
fans.
used
It's
to
okay.
big Stuff like this.
Now, we know that there is more to the story. It doesn't all wrap up nice and neat in the first book. There's two more books that tell the story across the...
Yeah, what's very cool about this...
Are we just abandoning this? this seems so weird. This is weird. We show them the Griever. We can't talk about something that's in the book.
That's the truth. It is in the book.
It is in the book.
But don't tell everyone else who don't know that.
Right.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Most of you already forgotten what he said anyway.
Yeah.
If you hadn't read the book.
Have you guys read the book?
Oh, most
All right,
people read
there's
the book.
some in there.
There you go. Most people have read it.
We forgive you, Dylan. It's all right.
Hey, have you seen that Griever? There's a lot of people that die.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is
Chuck
Luke
is just-
Skywalker's father.
You guys are mean.
What? I didn't know that. Are you kidding me?
Sorry.
This is going horribly.
Wes,
so
are there
sorry.
plans for filming the next 2 books as well?
Yeah, so,
Scorch Trials is the.
what's
the next
very
book,
interesting about this book, it's got a pretty damn ballsy ending. That we see this as potentially being a really cool saga to tell in multiple movies. Of course, I mean it does fit into that zone, but we think that we could do something really really special with the next one based on the characters and sort of the family that you kind of learn to love in this first movie. And we are really excited about possibly being able to, of course, it all depends if you guys all go out and see the movie, being able to possibly, make this thing into a real true saga where we can really open up the story and have a lot more, suspense and scares and a lot more kind of drama and really good, character story stuff. And what's really great about the sequel that James wrote is that it's in a completely different environment than our first maze. Now, I guess we probably should show something. We might be kind of gearing up possibly to shoot it maybe in fall or this winter basically. Again, assuming everything goes well. But it could be something really truly spectacular. And I think maybe do we have something maybe? Anything up there to show? Nothing?
Want to show something that you?
Possibly.
Oh, is that the?
So, this is
that's the
something.
look?
This is basically the world that we're going to wind up in, and it's very cool. And you really have to just watch the movie. And we don't answer every single question. There's some things that we leave open, and we get to hopefully explore them in the next one, where we get to go into this really cool world and do some more really fun stuff. So. Please, hopefully you guys liked everything you saw here, and you can take all your friends to go see this movie so we can make the sequel.
That's great. I'm guessing Chuck won't show up in Scorch Trials. That's just my guess.
He does, actually.
I'm assuming.
Little do you know, Dylan just spoofed you guys. You have no idea. He actually
that
is.
could be the greatest curveball at Comic-Con ever.
Yeah, clearly I'm throwing a curve.
Could be it, yeah.
Well, thanks guys for showing up and for talking about the film and showing us that great footage. Please help me thank
Thanks, guys.
our French director Wes Ball, James Dashner, Will Poulter, Kaya Scodelario, and Dylan O'Brien.